wherever you
No,
want.
I got it. Well, you've done this. It's funny. I've never seen your shit. I need to subscribe to your stuff.
Well, I don't do a lot of it, so.
You got the setup for it.
Yeah. So, well, again, we can do the edit however we want to do it. But this, for me, like, I just talk to my agents and we'll cut it up, clip it, and do whatever we want with it, right?
Well, as far as you want to do, let's just do interview style.
Yeah.
And then if it's a one take wonder, cool. If not, we'll throw it in Opus.
It's one take wonder. We're that good. All right.
We're going to talk.
We're
having a conversation.
All right. Well, then screw it. I'm going to give the intro.
Are we doing it?
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Lance Martin, man. We have some big news to share. Man. Lance has big news to share. So we've been trying to get this meeting together for a long time.
Too long.
Right? I mean, it's just always,
at least a year, maybe two.
Our schedule is just.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, been a minute. So the topic of the day, I mean, there's a lot of topics going on in the real estate world, but the big thing right now is Lance.
Yes.
Who owned Coldwell Banker, Town and Country.
Yep.
Jumped ship, and went to EXP. Huge move. I love that. I love it because it just shows you that the industry is making some moves, right? And so, give me the play by play of how it started. Like that's the.
Oh my gosh, it started a while ago. Okay, so let me ask you a question first. Yeah. When did you do the link? When was that? How long ago was that?
So 3.5 years ago.
When did you start thinking about it?
20 years ago.
20. Okay.
Well, right. I'll give you a real thing. So back when I was at Coldwell, I was trying to get more involved, and the writing was on the wall, right? We're going the small team route. We're going teams. We're going branding. The big box.
Branding yourself.
The teams, the people.
Hanson McCoy, whatever it happened to be.
Yeah. Yep. And so there wasn't a fit with the big box brand because, over time, that brand meant less and less, right? And so when, David Stites left or a couple teams left because they wanted to push themselves or hire splits or, grow their teams.
Brand themselves.
That model didn't fit within the Coldwell Banker brand, the big box brand. So that was been going on for a while. Fast forward, there wasn't room for me over at Coldwell. So I'm like, all right, this is like a new venture for us. This model, it was starting to take hold. It was a new shape. Not quite EXP, but similar world. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you just told my story. I mean, seriously. So this is the deal. Exactly the same story. So 20 years of thought process. 3 years ago, you executed. Okay. I've been with Coldwell Banker for 24 years.
Yeah.
Okay. My mom and dad retired 2001. They didn't want to do anything like that. So I jump in and whatever that was, 2022, 2023. I have nothing bad to say about Coldwell Banker. Yeah. And by the way, you've been with Coldwell Banker for an equal amount of time.
Yeah, I was 23 years.
Yeah, an equal amount of time. Yeah. So for us, for a very long time, you and I might have even had this conversation over the last decade because I've been having this conversation internally and externally. It's all, if you watch any of my stuff on YouTube or any of my market forecast stuff, it's hard to not go through and at some point hear me talk about a broken business model.
Yeah.
And I would always stop because a lot of when I'm talking, most of the time I'm talking to consumers, buyers and sellers and stuff like that. So I'd say, no. I'm not saying that the market's broken, although parts of the market can be broken. I was always talking about the business model, the broker owner business model. So I've been saying that for a decade. So 7 years ago, not 20, but 7 years ago.
That's pretty real for me too. I was exaggerating.
Yeah. Well, so 7 years ago, I had a decision to make. And the decision was my franchise with CB was up in 2 years from them. So my franchise, so probably right around 2019, I'm thinking, okay, I've got a franchise renewal in 2021-ish. What am I going to do? Am I going to renew or am I going to, do a different decision? And if you're a broker owner and you're in that world, whenever you get to those franchise renewals, there's a dance that happens and there's a certain amount of negotiation that happens. But for me, the bigger play was beyond that is, am I happy here?
Yeah.
And I had been. I mean, Coldwell Banker's awesome. Century 21, Berkshire Hathaway, Remax, Better Homes, they're all fine. I put them all you call them big box, I call them legacy brands. Yeah. Same thing. So I would never have left a CB to go to any of the other legacies. But when the renewal came up or was coming up, I'm sitting down with my sons, Drew and Drake, and we're like, what are we going to do? And the thought was, we really have to decide. Do we want to renew? We sure as fuck don't want to renew for 10 years because that's the deal.
Sure.
So, but we wanted to leave. But we weren't ready. It's a big deal, man.
And this is 22.
This is probably 2019 when we're going through it. But the decision had to be made during COVID. It was 2021. So if we were going to do it, these things take time. Just the process of moving the ship. And at that time, we had more agents. We had, at our peak with Coldwell Banker, we had 7 offices and about 340 agents. I used to flex that.
Yeah.
Not flexing quite as big as you. Look at that over there, brother.
But,
look at you. So, but at any rate, so the truth be told, probably 100 of those agents were really an illusion. They were on the roster, but whatever.
Yeah.
So then we shrank, and we got down to, after COVID, we got down to like 3 offices and 140. But anyway, the decision to move was a massive one. And I don't know, I wasn't sure. I was afraid. It was too much work. Didn't put in the effort. So we didn't make the decision. But at that point, I had already looked at leaving. I looked at EXP. I looked at some of the other models, but none of the other legacy brands was even an option. I was like, what's independent? Just going to completely go. I did that with my dad for 15 years.
So did you looked at LPT or?
Yeah, well, I don't think LPT was around back then. This is 7 years ago.
Right.
Or Real, but yes, I have. I looked at all of them.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that. I'll show
I love it.
No, I have no filter. There's
Yeah.
probably 2 things that we won't talk about just because. But other than that, we'll throw it out.
Yeah.
So back then it was EXP, and it was Kyle Whistle. Kyle was running in San Diego. As Whistle Realty Group. I had met him through a mutual friend in Coachella, and I liked him. I respected him. I looked at him, and then this is 7 years ago. This is 2018, right around when I was thinking about making that change. And there was an announcement that he's going to EXP, and I'm like, that's interesting. I need to make a change. Why EXP?
Yeah.
Because at that point, I was really thinking maybe go independent.
Well, how big is he?
At that point, he's huge now.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, he's got 16,000 agents in his world. Yeah, gigantic. Back then, I think Kyle, it's funny, I talk to him all the time. I'd have an interview that's a link from this interview to his interview. Yeah. But at that time, before he jumped to EXP, he was very successful in San Diego. I don't know, probably 50. Independent office, Whistle Realty Group. But then he goes to EXP. I call him, but I wasn't thinking about EXP. I was more intrigued by, I think I want to leave CB and go independent. Here's a guy that was independent and went to this. At that time, EXP was just kind of, what's going on over there?
Sure.
They only had like 8,000 agents or something like that.
Just.
Yeah. Well, but Coldwell Banker, 100,000 agents,
sure.
blah, blah, blah. So I met with him. I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, but I didn't get it. So at any rate, I get to my renewal date in 2001, ran out of time, basically. Just ran out of time.
Yeah.
So I went to CB, and they were we did the dance, we negotiated, but I got the deal. I got a good deal. I have no problem.
5-year deal.
Did a 5-year deal. 5-year deal's up now.
Right now.
Like now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I just saw the post.
Yep. And so then now it's we're getting closer, 4, 3, 2, and nothing had changed. I said, well, maybe something's going to change. Maybe market will change, conditions will change, something will change where I see more value in the brand, the legacy brand. Well, not only did nothing change, everything was just falling, more and more to the point where this is not working for me. And by the way, I like to think I'm a good operator. I'm not the best operator. I make a lot of mistakes operation wise and piss away money and do stupid shit. But nevertheless, so about 18 months ago, that's when I was like, okay, we're done. And I know Leo Perea.
Did something happen, or was it just time that it just run its course?
I just knew that we missed the mark 7 years ago. We ran out of time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we don't want to run out of time because this shit takes time. So it was like, we sat down, Drew and Drake and I, a year and a half ago, and said, well, if we're going to do it, we got to do it. So that there was no decision made. There was no decision made where we were going other than we're leaving there. So the decision was going to be independent. EXP, you had mentioned Real. One of my agents, Chris Leeper, which again, he's one of the reasons we left CB because he brands himself Leeper Realty Group. He has for 10 years. I've been him and dozens of my agents. They refuse to put Coldwell Banker on any of their shit. So
but it's a requirement, right? 33% of the sun.
Yeah, I think the Department of Real Estate has some rules on that.
Well, no, the Coldwell Banker themselves have that
of course they do, but nobody enforces it. And I didn't enforce it. I mean, I tried, but what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you not to do it, and you're going to say, well, screw you, I'm out. So we're
exactly
weak.
Right. Yeah.
Weak brokers, and the Department of Real Estate didn't see.
I don't know if you're weak, you're just real. I mean, because people they will jump ship.
We do everything we can to maintain and keep. What do we do as broker owners? We recruit and we retain. And what are you going to do? You're going to tell your number one broker or your number one agent or your top 10 agent you can't work here anymore because you won't modify your sign. So we didn't do that. Coldwell Banker didn't bother us. Got a couple phone calls. I kept waiting for a DRE to come in and say, I don't know. They don't seem to care.
Well, does Chris have? He has a DBA for Leaper.
Yeah, he's got all that, but still. But again, you still got to have the logos and stuff on it. But at any rate, my agents weren't using the logos, so it got to the point where it's like, okay, my top agents aren't using it. I was losing agents because they didn't want to pay the franchise fees. My overlay, I charge 8%. I mean, that was kind of my deal.
Sure.
Piece went to CB. We had a couple of points coming to us to cover our stuff.
Sure.
Very transparent, but my agents didn't like it. Recruiting became more difficult. I saw less and less value in the brand. By the way, I'm not in a high-end market. So, I've spent some time down like in the low desert in La Quinta and they're older people with more assets and more money, they seem to see a little bit of value still in
Older
the banker.
Yeah, sure.
But most of my stuff's in on Empire.
Sure.
And they don't give two shits. I want to list with Kreg.
Well, they care the team, the team branding.
Yep.
Sure.
So at any rate, 18 months ago, I know Leo Pareja. He's the CEO at EXP, but I knew him before, and we became friendly. And the long story short is Drew and Drake and I are sitting around a table having this debate, and we talk about Kyle periodically. And Drew's just like, dude, why don't you've got Leo's phone number, just call him. So I texted him 2 minutes later, 20 minutes, I don't know, he called me. And we had been in contact, and then from that point forward, it was like regular contact. And I met him multiple times over the last year and a half. But we were still in the franchise. So there's very little they can do. And like, hey, you're still under a contract. We're not going to get into any contract interference or anything like that. And they were very clear with that. I'm like, hey, I'm calling you. You're not calling me. Yep. But anyway, then we got to the point over the last 6 months where it's like, this is happening. Well, I was going to mention Chris Leeper. Yeah. So Chris was interested in Real. Went and spent some time on Real. Yeah. Sharan was very heavily involved at that point in time. If you're familiar with him, Sharan's awesome. Yep. Well, Sharan's no longer there. We looked at Real. I'm sure they're fine. Wasn't for me. I'm going to be polite. There were some things within that culture that just didn't fit with me, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't work for me. What was the other one you just mentioned? LPT. They're new. Looked at them. I don't want to say I've looked at all of them, but I've looked at enough of them.
But similar structure.
Similar structure. Yeah. It worked for us. And this is the deal. This is what I'm telling my agents. And so far, our breakage has been almost zero. A couple people here and there. It's to be expected. But I'm basically telling my current 140 agents, who do you want to be? Now, I know who you guys want to be because you're already branding yourself. So that's easy. Sure. So all you're going to do, you're going to be what you already are. Or do you want to just be, we have some agents that aren't quite as producing and they're in that stage. Okay, well, you want to join the Martin Group? Fine, you can be the Martin Group. You don't want to be part of a Martin thing? Okay, fine. Then we're gonna also brand ourselves like a white label Cobalt Realty Group. Sure. So you want to do that? Great. You're not interested in that? Then you can just be Sally Smith and throw the EXP logo on there. Yeah. If neither one of those options work for you, okay, well then I guess you got to figure something else out. Sure. But
for the most part, everyone's been pretty receptive, and they're.
Yeah, I think probably if I'm being honest, and again, I'm sure some of my agents that are with me will connect with this as I say this. Where's the camera? This one here?
Either one of them.
Either one. Just trying to talk to my people. They'll be like, "Oh, Lance, you," because they've heard this story. Yeah. So, but the part of the story which totally resonates with me. Okay, 10 years ago, model's broken. 7 years ago, decisions made. 18 months ago, we're thinking it. Last 6. So I've had years to process this.
In your mind, it's been processed. In their mind, it was a snap decision.
Well, yeah, it was Tuesday at lunch.
Right.
I lied to him. Yeah. I lied to him. Hey, come to lunch. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. The whole office.
All of them. Yeah. We're going to do something special. Come to lunch. And then I had a smaller group said, come to dinner. And I lied. I apologized. I mean, that's what you do. Yeah. I've had an agent say it was a tactic. I'm like, oh, it wasn't a tactic. And then I'm like, okay, I guess it's a tactic. Sure. When you merge an office, you do that. When you make
tread, you figure things out.
You do.
You're walking that road.
And I don't feel good about it, but I understand it. So some I'm like, dude, come on, man. You want me to...
Is there a right way to do it?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, the reason we do it that way is because if you give them 30 days to do it, then the next thing you know, every recruiter at Keller Williams and RE/MAX and ABC Company is like vultures.
Well, then you get, 140 different opinions.
You do. And it's tough. So having said that, several of my agents were like, yeah, that's cool. I get it. I'm with you. Several of them were like, yeah, Jake, give me a few days. Mm-hmm. Others are like, give me a few more days. Mm-hmm. So now we're on day 8 or 9. And I've had 2 that have said this isn't for me, but we love each other. It's like one of them. I just talked to one of them as I was driving over here. Quite honestly, she had another opportunity that presented even before we made the announcement. So we're going to see. Time will tell. I think it's a bitchin' model. It's definitely a more forward-facing model for the future, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And again, this is not a knock on Coldwell Banker, I just feel that the legacy brands. Mm-hmm. are at a disadvantage right now. As somebody who owned one for 23 years, I felt like I've been disadvantaged.
What's your take on Compass taking over Anywhere Real Estate? Or did that play in the decision making at all? You already made it before.
My decision was made long before that. Okay, so first of all, I don't generally think it's going to have much of any impact for a while. Mm-hmm. Will it have some impact later? Maybe. But I have a lot of opinions. I mean, Compass, there was that rumor last summer that Compass was going to buy Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know if you remember that. That was like June, July of last year. And then Berkshire Hathaway came back and said, that's bullshit. probably wasn't bullshit. Somebody violated a non-disclosure. And then it sounds like probably Compass and Schneider from Anywhere Brands, Rick Schneider, was talking. And I have a feeling that probably the conversation might have been the other way at first, Anywhere by Compass. But Anywhere's got billions of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
And Compass doesn't. And Compass is kind of a little sexier, and Wall Street thinks they're a little more favorable.
Well, they've gotten a big raise.
They got a big raise.
They're still not profitable yet.
So
they got raised.
Correct. Well, we'll see. So at any rate, as far as them acquiring it, I don't give two shits.
Yeah.
Compass doesn't. In my market, they don't play a role. In other marketplaces, they do.
Well, take that now into consideration, because that role is going to change. Now they just picked up how many 340,000 agents?
300,000. Yeah.
So, how about this pissing match between Compass and Zillow, and now Compass taking over, being the company of record for Redfin, and all this thing, all these things, like the industry's on fire.
It is, and but let's get to that. And I have a strong opinion. By the way, we've done no debriefing on this,
none.
So I have no idea whether we're in agreement on this or not. We're
Fair
enough.
Either way,
I almost hope we're not, then we can argue it. But getting back to Compass taking over Anywhere.
I like to argue.
Well, Compass taking over Anywhere, for the short term, I don't think means anything. For the long term, it's interesting. I get it. I mean, when I jumped in with Coldwell Banker 20 years ago, they had just gone public and had been acquired from Apollo, and I think they had $6 or $7 billion worth of debt back then, and there was all sorts of talk about them going bankrupt. This is the deal: if you're in that structure, this business is a loser. This is just a very, very, very difficult business. So to the degree that you need to consolidate and bring these brands in, I get it. We'll see what happens. I think that there's going to be a lot of internal battles, especially with the individual franchise holders that are like, hey, I've been with Compass, I've been with CB, or I've been with Better Homes and Gardens or C21. And I don't know what this Compass thing means. So I think a lot of those people are wait and see. If I had still been within Coldwell Banker, my approach to my agents was, we're just going to wait and see. We'll see what happens. Sure. Now, as far as all this other bullshit and drama, Zillow just dropped that lawsuit today.
Yeah, and they're also offering out their own pre-marketing portal.
Correct. Actually, I reversed it. Compass just dropped the lawsuit against Zillow today or yesterday. I think the whole thing's bullshit. I think the pre-marketing stuff is nonsense. You're in a little higher end market, and your price point's higher than mine. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Then we'll tie you back into the exclusive listings. How many do you normally tell your seller, hey, we're going to go off market for a day or a week?
It hurts the seller.
Okay, so there's no daylight between us then.
No.
Okay, how many listings, and you've done a lot of business, my friend. Yeah. How many listings in your career have you actually said, okay, we're going to stay off the market for a week or two, or even a weekend?
I would say none. Okay. With that being said, the caveat there is, yes, I've double-ended some escrows pretty quickly. I've had the buyer, and I've come to sellers with my buyer. But I think you're doing your seller a disservice by selling it either before it's marketed or had a chance to at least be on the MLS, give it some traction at least.
Okay. Then there's no daylight between us. I feel exactly the same way. Yeah. And I have never once gone to a seller
and said, hold it off because we're better.
Off. I mean, I'm better. My agents will sell it. And I've done just the exact opposite. Because every account with thing you say, this is the deal.
Yeah, give it some time.
I'm an exclusive. I got 100 agents in my office. And I go put into the MLS, it syndicates, and again, I have no love for Zillow. I have no love for any of them.
No, it's the Antichrist.
It's a love-hate. But in this particular example, I put it in the MLS, and within seconds, it's my office, it's every office, it's California, it's New York, it's buyers in China and around the globe. Everybody has it. Why is it in your best interest to keep it with me for 2 weeks? It's not. It's not. So when by the way, Robert Refkin,
this whole argument at the very beginning made no sense to me. But
it makes sense in like two examples, and I'll get to those in a minute. But Robert Refkin, CEO of Compass, he's a smart guy. I mean, come on. I mean, it's hard to say he's an idiot. He's not an idiot. But on this, I don't get it. Having said that, I was in New York at Inman 3 weeks ago, and Robert Refkin was there. He believes this. When he's on stage, he's an Oscar-winning actor, or he absolutely believes this is in the best interest of everybody, which I don't. It's in the best interest of Compass, particular brands, but I don't even think it is. If we go back to this fractured silos of your listings are over here, my listings are over here, and Keller Williams listings are over there, that doesn't serve anybody.
No. Closed MLS like Big Bear was for a while.
It's correct. It's total nonsense. But this was interesting. So Robert came in and he said his thing and he made his case. And he's passionate about it. There was 400 people in the room, give or take.
Passionate doesn't mean right.
The next speaker that came up, I forget his name, the CEO of Zillow. And obviously on this issue.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Well, but on this issue, there's, they're like, he's over here. And the Zillow guy's like, and again, I have no love for Zillow. Zero love for Zillow. But the Zillow argument is, hey, we want everybody gets access. Everybody gets access. It's better for the consumer, better for the seller, better for the buyer. So after that was done, Brad Inman stood up, said to the audience, says, okay, 400 people there. These are all broker owners and agents. Mm-hmm. Who thinks that Robert's got the right approach? Dude, I'm not kidding you, man. There was 10, maybe 20 people in the entire room that were clapping. The room was silent. Mm-hmm. So they agree with us. Yeah. So how does this serve the seller? I've never once told a seller that, keep it off the market. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
That's just ego.
But now you've got all these other silos. You got the Redfin deal. You got somebody else did a deal. EXP came out. Their deals. Well, their deal's a little different because they're going to do their deal, but their deal's not exclusive. So their deal's like, hey, you can put it anywhere. Whereas Compass's deal is exclusive. Redfin. I forget with Redfin to the exclusion of, I don't know. Yeah. It's a shit show. Yeah. I don't like any of it. But this is the deal. Who are they actually talking to? What percentage of the agents think this is a good idea anyway? Right?
I don't agree. I'm with you. So I don't understand the concept of it. It makes no sense to me. Yep. Why is it even an argument? I guess there's some pushback about some things that the boards do to us, which I understand. About they're all about data. Yep. Zillow's about data. Yep. We're losing what our industry is all about in my mind.
Like sell houses.
Well, just take care of people, right? What's more important than getting your seller or taking care of your seller and getting them the highest price possible? Right. The most eyes on it. And I think this is a total tangent. Side note. I just think our industry is going so many different ways from AI to tech and everyone's losing like the reason why we're doing this, man. Like this is it's a human business. You know what I mean? Like we've lost that touch. Call it COVID, call it tech, call it AI. Everyone's AI is going to take us over. Wow. Bullshit, man. The agents that do well are going to be the ones that can communicate and talk and take care of the people, right?
I have my 95-5 thing. I think we've talked about this. My 95-5 is a play on the 80-20 principle. Sure. 80% of the business done by 20% of the professionals, or 80% of the production done by 20% of the output. So 95-5 for me, it's been like, in the real estate world, 95% of the business is basically done by
the 5%.
But you're not even 5%. You're top 1/2 of 1%.
Either way, but I get your point.
Yeah. So if you're in that percentage, again, some people play games. They want to double and shit, and they want to keep it off market. And we can talk about the unethical behavior, which we kind of almost got rid of that because that was a big thing 10, 12, 15 years ago. And whether you like clear cooperation or not, it kind of solved that. But anyway, getting back to the business is, which is another reason, quite honestly, where I think the model that you and I are in, which is similar.
Yeah. For the most part. Similar. Different structure, but same model.
Yeah. Yeah. Less overhead, less overlay.
That's the whole point.
Agents kind of, at the top of the compensation. But in front of all that is, what are we here for? Belly to belly with consumers, help the buyers, help the sellers. Yeah. But I just think there's going to be so much compression in the transactions to the higher quality agents. And I think the vast, vast, vast majority of the higher quality agents are looking at all the stuff that's going on in our industry. It's all smoke and mirrors, and they're just ignoring it, which is what I told my agent. But I told my, we made the Coldwell Banker announcement 9 days ago. So for the last 3 months, all this stuff, actually for the last couple of years, all this has been going on. But they're asking me what to do. I said, just ignore it. Just you go do your thing, take care of business.
It doesn't affect you.
By the way, I don't allow off-market listings in mine. This is what I was going to say with Robert. He had that one example. Okay, I want to list Brad Pitt's house in Malibu. Okay, fine. Let's Brad Pitt can come off the market.
Sure.
Because what percentage of the marketplace are we talking about? Like it's ridiculously small. But for your average consumer that you and I deal with, it makes no sense. Keep your head down, call your clients.
I'll tell you, Brad Pitt, if you want to list your house,
we'll keep it off the market for you. Yeah. We'll do it. What do we call it? We're calling it an in-house exclusive.
Yeah, for sure. Like done.
We'll put together our own program.
Done.
We got it. Yeah. We got it. So, industry's in turmoil, dude. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So I just want to sell houses.
That's where I'm at. And back to your point about our industry, like not only is it on fire, I just look at the quality of agent coming in. I'm sure you're seeing it every day too. It's like
every day.
It's just this tech it's not ruining our agents, but it's just making it just where it's so less personable.
Well, that's where I was going with this a minute ago.
And the
everyone's
quality
hiding,
of agent.
they're hiding behind Facebook and Instagram, and
the tech, the TikTok, that you shake your ass on TikTok, or you have your Instagram or your YouTube, which is great tools to have. And I, you know what? That's the old school way, right? That's where I cut my teeth. And I have, my partners are all 28 years old, and I want to evolve and I want to get on camera and do these things because I think the camera is the future.
Well, you got to do
YouTube
both.
is the future, but I don't want to lose touch of the personable communication. And so when you're doing deals, like when I started in this business, I would present my own offers, right, to the seller.
Yeah.
I get offers sent to me without even a phone call.
Right. And then they call you 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later, say, what's up with my offer?
Yeah. I'm just baffled at is there no education? Is there no mentorship?
Yes.
Is there no, is.
There's none of everything you just said and then 20 other things. There's none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts. But it's funny, hiding. I used to tell my agent again. By the way, I'm getting more and more active on social media because we have to.
Here we are. This is what we're doing, right?
Well,
as I'm talking shit on it.
But we're not because we're not going to hide behind it.
Yeah.
We're going to sit back on the camera. We're going to cut up some stuff. We're going to get it out there. Hopefully, our buyers and sellers are going to say, "Hey, there's Lance and Kreg. They're doing their thing. That's awesome." But we're also not afraid to call them. We're going to call them. It's funny. One of the agents that broke, I haven't had zero breakage. I told you I had a couple agents that have not affiliated with the new brand. And I got a text message from her, remain nameless. We're on good terms.
You know who you are.
Well, no, but we're on good terms. But listen to this, though. It ties in exactly to what you just said. So, we're not gigantic, but 140 people is not small.
No, it's good.
So when you're reaching out and you're trying to get belly to belly to all of them and calling them and trying to get them in the same room, well, it's, we missed a couple. Sure. So I got a text message from this agent yesterday, and it was like, "Hey," I'm paraphrasing, but "Hey, I love you, but," So I'm like, fudge. And my first response had nothing to do with she's made a decision to go somewhere else. I'm sitting there with Drew and Drake, and I think Paul, my sales manager in Claremont, was with me. I'm like, I messed up.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? I've not talked to her. We made this announcement 7 days ago.
Yeah.
I got you. I had not spoken to her individually, face to face. So what message am I sending? You don't care about me.
That's
anyway,
fair.
Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Now, so my initial response is, and I even texted her. I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's probably too late, but I should have called you. I apologize. Let me reach out to you and let's just talk." Which I did. And now the decision for her to leave made me feel a little better. She had already made the decision prior. I don't know how you're competing with the Zillow Flex programs. So, we used to have Flex, we don't. So she had an opportunity to go with the Flex broker. That's what she decided to do. So she's like, "Hey, God bless you. If it works out, fine. If it doesn't, doors open. We love you."
Sure.
But it didn't change the fact that I didn't call her.
Sure.
And I'll, in the back of my head, no matter what, I'll always be like, I got to own that.
Yeah.
It's like you have you lost a seller because you didn't communicate with them?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you
like,
can't blame. It's all on you.
Right. It's all on you. It's like,
shit.
I knew I should have called them. I didn't. I should have got a price reduction. I didn't. And you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. And then you get that call that says, "Hey, thanks. I want to go with somebody else." That's on you.
100%.
Right. We all had it.
And as long as you can call yourself out, then that's what's important.
Well, I can call myself out for sure.
I blame Drake.
So tell me what's going on with Link, man. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so kind of similar. I mean, the big thing for us when we shifted gears, my vision was a big tech play. I think we talked to you originally when we first rolled this thing out.
Yeah.
And it was the tech behind the company and transaction management and running the whole back end, right? Having one platform for brokerage, mortgage, escrow, ideally from consumer to close, or from consumer search to close, one platform, one. Sounds great. In theory, right?
Yeah.
Lofty undertaking, and I think we do have great tech.
Okay.
We have developers still working on this every day, and we're still building.
Yep.
But I don't think we're there yet with competing with the SkySlopes. I think called you the other day about SkySlope, right? Yep. There's a few things.
And you built your own. You built your own transaction manager?
Everything.
Okay.
We have our whole back end. I mean, from running teams to transaction management.
Yep, all of it.
We built it off of SkySlope. We did, we have great tech, right? But our initial. The last 2 years, we run our Link.ai, which is our to-consumer search.
Okay.
This was before ChatGPT even took off, right? We were doing this chat search and this LLP model and all these other things. And now AI has caught up to us or past us, and it was quick, right? When it came on. And so we have all of these things that worked out for 2 years that I wouldn't say are obsolete, but they're not where they need to be to roll them out, right? And so now it's like, oh, shit.
Keeping up with tech's tough.
Yeah. And then so the big point was like everything's fractured. And so how can I bring everything under one roof, then have the vertical with broker mortgage escrow, throw in maybe insurance, and just have everything it's a simple, smooth transaction and be able to save the consumer money.
Right. Okay.
Right. Simple. And it's funny because I was talking to Kobe today before you came in, and when I left Colwell, this was all on my brain trying to roll this thing out, and I knew what I thought I wanted. Okay. And I think the further away I got from my roots, the more I realized, oh shit, there was a lot of things that I took for granted because they weren't important to me.
Right.
Right. And so we have a sales team that you are focused on just letting them be autonomous, right? And then we're supporting them. We can't in the backgrounds or whatever, but you guys go out and do your own thing. Well, in sales, as you know, it's people like to be patted on the back, right? They like to be rewarded.
They want to get a hug,
right? Yep. And I was never that way. And so for me, I'm like, I'm going to create this company, and I'm going to promote my agents, let them do their own thing, and
leave them alone.
Yep,
I get that.
The longer we go into this, the more I'm like, okay, well, that's probably a mistake. We need to have more outings. We need to have more events. We need to have
more social. Yeah,
and that's
that's the blend.
That's the blend, and it's hard because
it is hard.
We're in 7 states now. We have
awesome. I didn't know
280 that. Agents.
Okay,
right? How do you build a regional brokerage across 7 states?
Yeah,
so it's like,
well, there's a very specific agent that fits into that, which I think is the agent like you and I. I was always the agent that I didn't never come to into the office on Monday and someone said, "How was your weekend?"
Yeah,
like, okay, it was great.
Yeah. I'm working.
Is that enough for you?
Yeah, right.
I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Or if you wanted to do something like, this is awesome, but I'm working right now. You want to go have a beer after, or you want to do something, or I'll tell you, let's go to the river the next weekend.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the office, I'm working. I want to be left alone.
Yeah.
And I also was an agent who, to this day, I can work remotely perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. But I think I'm unique. I think we might fall into that same category. Some agents, they need the buzz. They need the office. They need the they need the coffee.
And I'm learning that. Because again, I came from a family-owned business, as you know my mom for years, and we never butted heads by any means, but different philosophies. Yeah. And like any kid, right? As a kid, your parents are always wrong. Well, I'm learning. My parents were kind of right.
Yeah.
All the way to the end, right?
It worked, yeah.
And so now we're rolling out.
Smarter.
Man. So we have a whole school platform now, a whole training program now, head of mentorship program now. It's like all these things that I just never cared about. Yep. Now I'm realizing, okay,
it's important.
And we're trying to develop the culture in the community. With a cloud brokerage, it's kind of hard. EXP's done a pretty good job at it.
They've got. Well, again, that's one of the reasons why we're keeping our offices and we're trying to maintain that. So we kind of want the best of both worlds. But
I think you need
brokerage. But it is difficult.
Yeah, and I think we have offices in San Diego, Orange County, LA, San Francisco, across the state, but they're all their own teams.
It's an agent running that.
So
I'm Lance Martin with Link.
Yeah,
and I'm in Nebraska. So I just open myself a little office wherever the heck I am.
Exactly. So
it's the same thing that the XP people can do if they so choose.
Yeah. And again, so that's same model, different pay structure, different scale. But again, for us, I'm licking my wounds right now because I know the mistakes that I made over the last 3 years, and I'm trying to correct them, and then have like your hybrid model, and your teams can go do your teams autonomously. I don't really care. But the agents that need their hand held to a certain extent, we're here to, from train to mentor to coach to call it whatever it is. And
but shit, to go from 0 to, what'd you say, 280 and how many states? 7?
7 states.
7? Dude, that's no small.
Mainly in California. The states, like we have Georgia, we have a team in Georgia, a team in Florida, a team in Colorado. So our other states, the idea, again, remember, we came at this from a tech play.
Right.
And so for our tech to be valuable, that's right.
Okay. I was just making sure it wasn't me.
For our tech, is that me?
I think it's your camera.
Okay.
It's your camera phone.
My camera's buzzing.
Your camera phone. Hello.
Yeah. So our big play was like, okay, well, if real estate mortgage escrow is our widget, and this is our tech, then we had to have agents on our tech platform to have our tech be valuable.
Okay.
And so I think we're realizing now that tech play, again, self-funded. We didn't get $400 million from SoftBank that Compass did,
you just can't burn
all these guys
millions of dollars of cash on a monthly basis.
Yeah. So now we're like flipping the script and going, okay, now we're going to focus more brokerage mortgage escrow on the vertical, grow them all individually, and then just take better care, I guess, of our agents.
Right.
Be more involved with our agents.
Right.
And again, I'm learning mistakes, right? I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, we all
thought I knew best, and realize now that
Well, no, you probably did no
points.
mess. The problem is we want one size fits all, and we want that size to be our size.
Yeah.
And then you realize, well, if you want to grow and expand, well, you gotta expand that tent a little bit.
100%.
And it's funny. I hate that word culture. It's not a Coldwell Banker thing. It's an industry thing. Is what's your culture in your office, and are you developing the culture? And every time I would hear that word in context to operating my business, I would just like, oh my god. But it's real.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's the most. I think we're saying the same thing. That's the most difficult part for me.
For sure.
We're those agents that just let me know. Just let me work.
And that's what I've tried to build. And,
right.
Well, and here's something for you. And maybe it's not culture, but it's community.
Yep.
So if you look at, I'm sure EXP has the same thing, but wholesalers have come out of the woodworks. They're just jumping into our industry and taking a lot of business away from agents that would be otherwise taking this business. Pace Morby and Nick Perry, all these guys are coming in on the wholesale investing side. They have a huge following, right? 30,000 people are going on Pace's program, right? Like, what is it about that community that we are missing as an industry?
Yeah,
right. Like, is it just one single focus about investing? We have a real estate fund. We have the vertical. We have the training. We have all these things. Yep. Yet he can go out and talk about wholesaling and then have 30,000
So what's the answer to your question? How did he do that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
I think
this. No, I think this is it. I think it's this, but
building the community, having the meetups, having the networking,
Yeah, but I think you do it.
And like having us, right? I don't see you as a competitor. There's a ton of business out there.
A lot of business out there.
And so like, I love the idea, or the fact that you left Coldwell. I love the idea that you're seeing, bigger horizons, and you're seeing a broken market, whether it be LPT, side, real.
Yeah, side. We haven't talked about them, but yeah.
But yeah, it's all the same thing. Like, the model is shifting, right? NAR's membership's going down. You have all of these things coming out, and like, okay, well, what's next? And my thing about what's next is like, what's old? Because what's next, I don't think is as important as going back to our roots.
Yep.
Right. And that's where I'm coming back to like,
we'll take care of the client.
Yeah. I've tried all these new things. And I'm like, what, at the end of the day, what's important?
Well, the client. You put the client first.
Weird, right?
Well, yeah, crazy. Well, but then again, you also got to think of who the client is, though, because when you run a brokerage,
now your clients are your agents.
Your clients are your agents. So then you sit back and I've been griping about a broken model, and part of that broken model is, and I got to be careful because I'm saying, oh my God, well, my clients are my agents, and my agents, when I first got into this business, you could hire a brand new agent at a 60-40 split, and then it was a little bit more, and then 70-30, and now the agents who are they're what drive the driving force in our industry. Well, they have become more valuable. They become so much more valuable that all the brokerages are willing to pay them more. Mm-hmm. But okay, well, can you now compete as a brokerage because you have brand new agents out of the box that in the old days used to get paid less, and now they get paid the same as what killer agents used to get paid. But that's also, how many times have you just said in the last 20 minutes about, you mentioned your escrow mortgage. So we have been, myself included, I don't have mortgage, I should, but
I know a guy.
Huh?
I know a guy.
I know you do. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So,
Okay.
But how many, that's come up. So, but I'm in this as well. Our brokerage businesses in so many cases have become basically a mechanism to feed ancillary services.
Sure.
Which is fine. So we've done that. And, we've got that fine line, I suppose, are we all compliant? And we are. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, okay, well, if you're only in the business to feed ancillary services and your brokerage business itself isn't profitable, then again, which kind of brings back to my decision. And by the way, I want to feed my ancillary services, but at the end of the day, they got to be quality. They got to be a great lender. They got to be great escrow. They got to be a great this. But getting back to our customers, our agents, I just found, and you did the same thing with your models, it says, well, they got to be the most important part of the deal. They can't be overlaid. You got your franchise, you got your broker owner, you got all these overlays and costs in between here and there. So that cost compression just gets to the point where, for me, that was unsustainable. Let's support the agents. Let's give them what they need, office, brick and mortar, space, culture, a compensation plan that works. I can pay my agents more now. I can pay my agents more than I could a week ago.
Sure.
And I can still maintain just a little bit extra on my side and get a little bit more. But at the end of the day, are they going to get out and service their clients? If they are, they're going to be successful. If they're not, none of it's going to matter. Yeah. But we are in a hell of an industry though right now. But escrow and title, so or not title, escrow and mortgage. So we haven't talked about this, but so what's your escrow relationship? Is it what I think it is, or do you have a separate escrow?
Separate.
You have a separate, completely separate.
Yeah.
As opposed to the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can say LaRue. I know,
I know. I was like, what the hell? Okay. So it's completely separate than the ROO. Okay. You got your own gig.
Not broker owned. It's DFPI, government by DFPI. It's complete standalone. Same with mortgage.
Okay.
Obviously, that's
so Kim's not getting your mortgage business.
No, I tried to get her to come over. She's still invited.
The door's
but again, it was a conflict because she was at Colwell and be kind of weird working at Link.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I tried for years to get my mom involved, but dynamics be what they are just never worked out. Yep. And so again, it's one of those things where, again, why I left and why I started my own thing is like I have a very similar model to what they had, right?
Yeah.
And so it was grow mortgage independently. If my escrow officers can go out and get half their business from outside sources, awesome.
Okay.
Same with mortgage, right? My mortgage arm is we're hiring agents and they're using Link agents as it's like a cold banker agent, right? Yep. You have access to these guys. That's great. Go ahead and use them. Yep. But I want you guys to grow vertically, right? Yep. Do your own thing. Same with brokerage, right? So I don't want any one leaning on the other to survive.
Yep.
And so if we can, which I kind of screwed up because I named all the same thing, but yeah, so if that'll work,
so
then
your mortgage is Link and your escrow is Link.
First Link mortgage and then Link escrow.
Yeah, it's funny because we use this Cobalt brand.
Yeah.
When we split, I want to come back to have you finish your thought though. But when we left Cobalt Banker on the mortgage or on the property management side, we branded Cobalt and we branded our escrow Cobalt. And now it's kind of like we have a couple options with EXP, and it's like, do we Cobalt, Link.
Yeah.
Separate them out.
Yeah, I think I screwed up, and I probably the separating it up because again, everyone knows they're going to find out, right? So LaRue. Cold Banker owns LaRue, right? And so it's hard for them to get outside business because they know that who their owners are.
They know the connections.
And so when you have everything named the same, they're going to, I guess,
now it's
pretty easily
more clearly who the ownership is.
So there's that, and harder to grow that way. Because I look at trying to figure out, do you go out and get escrow rep or a sales rep or in that regard? But I don't know how much good that'll do. And so I don't know. It's a struggle. It's a struggle all across the board.
They were running businesses, man. I want to talk about your mom. I love your mom.
Yeah, I did too.
I just lost my dad.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we were within. Margaret passed away. 6 months ago?
A year. Like right now, like next week.
Well, my dad was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And we have such a similar history, man.
Yeah.
I worked with my mom and my dad for many, many years, 15, 20 years. And you worked with your mom for
25 years, I think, total.
It is crazy how they got smarter the older you got.
Well, she's gone, and I'm realizing she was smarter, It's like, oh, shit.
Oh, I have that same, when you said that a minute ago, or however many minutes ago it was, I was thinking of my dad. I used to sit in the office and listen to my dad. Because my dad and we started working together. I got my license when I was started selling when I was 19 when I got my license. So started selling at 20. Went to work with my dad at 21. And we worked together through 2001, so it was like 14 years or whatever it was. And I can remember my office was right next. We had a small office, and even when we were big, we only had 20 agents. But my office was always like right next to my dad's, the doors open. And I listened to him, and every now and then, often, like daily, he would say something and I'd be like, "Oh my God, really? Jeez, really?"
And now you're saying it,
bro. I say the exact same. It wasn't even so much what he would say. It was, I'm a big tone guy. It's not what you say, but how you say it. My dad would and I would think back, dude, you could say the same thing, just a little softer, and everything would be fine. And now I am exactly like him, only my tone is probably even more aggressive than his. So he was a little smarter than I thought. Either that or maybe we just get stupid when we get older.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're smart when we were kids. Not.
Well, I think it's funny because like when I broke away, I was doing my own thing. My mom being next door, she'd come over and she'd try to bounce ideas off me. And her and I are totally separate, different on every respect and how we approached problems and whatnot.
Right.
And so she'd always come over and ask me my opinion or get my thoughts, and I'd give them, willingly. Awesome. And she would take none of it. I'm like, why are you asking me? It's like my wife, you ask my opinion and you don't even care what I have to say. No, she knows that. I say it all the time. But it's just funny because then I get to the point where, I pick the phone calling her knowing what I knew what she was going to say, but I had to have that confirmation.
You want to bounce it back.
I
think both of you were probably confirming what you were thinking, and it was like, hey, if Craig said this, I'm going that way. If Mom says this, I'm going
to a certain extent.
Yeah, but
we're a lot alike in the way we treat people,
right?
But how we handle different situations was always. It was nice to have her as a sounding board because she'd probably bring me back a little bit to reality where I would probably run a little more rogue without that counsel.
Yeah. Well, she was awesome. I didn't know her and interact with her that well, but to the degree that I did, I would describe her as she was always very kind to me.
Yeah.
She was just very, very kind.
That was her heart. She's huge heart.
And I just, from the first time I met her till, gosh, it wasn't that. I mean, I probably saw her a few months before she passed, or maybe 6 months. And I'm like, wow, she's looking. She's in the office working, and
till the end.
Well, I kind of I talk to Adam, or I go whisper with Chuck. I'm like, Jesus, how's Margaret doing? And they kind of share with me. Yeah. And I'm like, well, man, I think I even talked to you once or twice about that.
She loved it.
I'm like, well, geez, I just saw her. I mean, she seemed like she kept her alive.
Yeah. And it did. And that's,
kept her alive
that was the thing. She loved what she did. She was not one to go on vacations, and she always would tell me, like, I'm always on vacation, right? And so she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you do you. Your vacation's work. That's cool. It's not my vacation.
Yep.
So it's awesome. It's interesting though. Yeah, to that. It's like the older you get, the wiser your parents were.
That's fact. I mean, that's fact. I mean, my mom's still around. I just went to dinner with her 2 nights ago, and she's doing well. But my mom and dad were married I think my mom was not even 18 when they got married. Yeah. They were one of those couples. They made it. Yeah. I mean, they're together. They're with my dad, and now she's going through it strong. My God, this woman's awesome. And I look at her, I'm like, okay, you got this figured out. I got a lot to learn.
Did your dad started Cobalt, or was
no, we got to go back a little further. When I got my license, I was home for me is Lakewood, Long Beach. That's where I grew up. Yeah. And when I got my license, my mom and dad had already moved to the Inland Empire, and I was I hadn't even gotten married yet, but I was living with Julie in Sin, and I going to college. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Went and got my real estate license. So I sold for 1 year with Gene Bird, New West Real Estate. Thank you, Gene. I would not be in this business today. I worked with him for 9 months, and we had that much of an impact on my. I'm still in touch with them today, 40 years later. But anyway, then I came out to Moreno Valley, where my mom and dad were. I worked with my dad for just a couple months at Great Western Real Estate. Remember Great Western Bank?
No.
Way back. How old are you?
50. Just turned 50.
Oh, 50. You're a kid. Shit, man. I'm going to be 60 this year. Yeah. Okay, so, by the time you were going, so Great Western had kind of come and gone.
I think I remember the logo.
Yeah, GW or whatever. But they got bought by Washington Mutual, which then got gobbled up by whatever. But at any rate, worked there for a minute. And then in January of 1988, my dad and I, but it was basically the two of us, and I was 21 and he had the money, opened up an office, Pioneer Real Estate. And so we did that together. Shoulder to shoulder for 15 years, and but he wanted something small. Yeah. We had 20 agents at max. But they were all killers. I mean, everyone made money. We didn't have anybody that didn't make any money. Everybody was making a living. Everyone was on an 80-20 split. There was no franchise, no overlay, no transaction fees. That was it. Yeah. If you were brand new, you're in at 80-20. If you did, 6-figure in GCI, you're on 80-20. Yeah. Back then, that worked. So we did that for a year. My mom came in, and then the Cobalt was kind of an incarnation. When we used to do our property management under Coldwell Banker. Again, I have very little bad to say about Coldwell Banker, but I do have some things that were pain points. We did property management under them for a while, and there were some things that I was unhappy with. So we peeled our property management away from CB, and that's when Cobalt was born. And we said, okay, let's do it separately, and came up with a name, and Cobalt was it, and that's where we moved our escrow and property management to Cobalt. So, but yeah, working with your parents is something though.
Well, so what I mean, I could probably ask them directly, but Drake and Drew, how involved are they day to day? Are you guys like a tight unit? Are you guys, what's your guys' story?
We're tight. I think we're tight. I mean, we're tight, right? Well, I'll give you the story. So Drew and I's story is a little bit longer. I was doing a lot of foreclosures when Drew was still in high school. And, when we were young, I'm assuming you were the same way. When I was a kid, man, I was an entrepreneur. I was out cutting grass and hauling shit and doing whatever I was doing. And Drew was the same way. So in high school, we were doing foreclosure. I did a lot of trash outs. So he had a truck and a trailer, and he had a bunch of football buddies. And I'm like, dude, go.
Yeah,
that's so he did trash outs, was making reasonably good money, and running his own crew, basically. I mean, doing a trash out crew at 16. So at any rate, he graduates high school, and all of his friends, Drew's going to hate this part, all of his friends, close buddies, all went to college.
Yeah.
And Drew was like,
he was making money.
It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you got to go to college. And he says, I don't want to go to college. I'm doing this. I'm working with you. We're going to do this. So he basically refused. I'm like, all right, well, let's work. And shit, we've 20 years now. 20 years I've been working with him. So, and Drew and I are in many ways the same person, which we work extremely well together. He tolerates my bullshit. He doesn't have much bullshit, to be honest with you. He's pretty easygoing, smart as hell. That kid, shit, he's 37 now. By the time he was 25, because we were deep in the REOs back then, he ran all my REO stuff. His learning curve was probably 6 months. At the beginning, he couldn't even talk on the phone.
Right.
I mean, seriously, he could not talk on the phone. It was crazy. But he got over that pretty quick. And man, probably by the time he was 25, he had, with a team, of course, but at the top of the team, well, I guess right below me, because I was the face, because they're not going to be the face.
Sure.
He probably was single-handedly responsible with the team for closing over 1,000 transactions before he was 25 years old.
That's rad.
To date, with all the hedge fund stuff and the foreclosure stuff, I don't know, probably 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 transactions that have directly through him.
Sure.
With of course a team and the support.
Yeah.
But now he's the broker. He's been the broker of our company. Well, now he's not the broker. Now the EXP gods are the broker. But up until that, he's been the broker with our global banker and our DLD partners, which is our corporate entity, for a decade. Drake came a little bit later to the party, only because he's younger and he did go to college. He just
That's pretty much when I kind of met you guys, when Drake was coming out of college.
Yeah. Well, he came out and initially he was like, screw it, I don't want to work with you, Dad, and I love you, but I don't want to work with you, and my brother's there too. So, there's that dynamic, right? Your sister, your mom, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But then after a year or two, I'm not really even sure. I should probably know this story a little bit better, but it was probably a year or so after he graduated, he kind of came in, let's give this a shot. Yeah. And that was 10 years ago.
As just an agent? And how did that fit?
No. Well, this is the crazy part. Right now, today, and we are third partners. We genuinely, our corporate entity is DLD, Drew, Lance, Drake. And we recently changed the structure, but as of today, we're third. We share in all of it. They would say, well, yeah, we do, but they're very kind to me. They defer to me on a lot of decision stuff because anyway, I lose my mind.
So they don't need you. They just tolerate
Sometimes
you.
There might be some stuff going on behind the scenes I have no idea about. But we're partners. But over the last 5 or 6 years, Drake is the broker of record for our property management side. He generally runs the property management side. Drew is the broker of record on the real estate side, and he runs that along with escrow. And then I kind of overlay on top of both of that. It's good. We're not perfect, but we haven't killed each other. We enjoy the same things. We enjoy off-roading and boating, and there's those moments, same moments I have with my father, where but we're good at it. It's not perfect. You have an issue and then you blow up for a day, and then we've been pretty good about coming back the next day and saying, all right, that was yesterday, and we'll move on. So it's awesome.
So who's your favorite?
Yeah, you know what? Chris Thornburg has this thing about, the people. Chris, you got me. Yeah. Fuck you, dude. Don't do that to me. I love both of my children equally. Let me tell you what. This is the deal. They are different.
Yeah.
They are different.
You have to hug one or kick one.
Drew, both of them at the same time. So this is the deal. Drew and I are probably a lot more similar. Yeah. Which basically means he's also got a lot of those traits that maybe aren't so good that are mine.
Yeah.
Drake and I are a lot different. Drake's a lot more like his mother. Which basically means he's more thoughtful, he's more empathetic. He, from a business perspective, I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay, but I'm frivolous, man. I do stupid stuff all the time, shiny objects, and Drake. And by the way, he has a business degree.
Yeah.
But irrespective of that, he's more of an operator. And I respect that madly from him because
you need that. You need like the visionary. You need the operator. You need those two different personalities and traits and skill sets.
And Drew, not that he's not an operator, but you're just kind of a grinder, man. You just give me the project, set on my way, and let me roll. And I'm kind of that. I'm a little bit of both, but I'm not a very good operator, to be honest with you. Drake is a much better operator than I am. So I love them both. So we'll flip a coin on which one's your favorite.
Yeah, it's always a joke in our family.
Depends. Actually, it depends. Probably never mind. I'm not going to say that. I was going to come up with an example. Either one's I'm going to get screwed on.
Yeah.
So, but So anyway, so new chapter for us. You're 3 years into your chapter, and I guess we'll compare notes in 6 months or a year and see how we're doing.
Well, I just love the fact that you're. The shakeup came. I didn't talk to you before you guys made your decision, and it was just
when we scheduled this, I mean, I knew obviously what I was doing, and I was.
I'm stoked we waited because this is rad.
Yeah,
I love that.
We delayed that maybe a little bit on purpose.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, interesting times. Well, I don't know if we're ready to wrap.
No, dude, I got all night.
Well, I want to talk cannabis. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So tell me. Okay, so I want to see. Okay, so how long ago did you envision the SIPCOI thing?
So that was all by mistake.
Total accident or mistake?
Not accident, but it just kind of happened. Okay. Let me go backwards, right? So my son, my special needs son, he was having seizures. Okay. And the hospital wants to put him on medication.
Okay.
And we didn't want to do that. And so what's alternative to medications? It's CBD.
Okay.
Okay. And this is back when CBD was still illegal.
Okay.
Couldn't do it, right?
Right.
And so we were against CPS giving our son illegal drugs
that were working, obviously,
for sure. And at the time it was called Charlotte's Web, and it was very, they have tons of research at the time, and we were like, you know what, let's go ahead and give this a run, and it worked. He never had a seizure again.
Right.
All right. So
was it literally that instantaneous, or did it take a minute? Or
nope. Since he started on the CBD, I mean, he's off of it now, but so febrile seizures, because the seizures came on when he had a fever, right?
Okay.
So when you grow out of those.
Okay.
Well, he was last one when he was probably 11,
Okay.
So way beyond when he should have had this stuff, but super skinny.
Right.
And so we went on the CBD, did that whole run, and then it became legal, and then
So when was that? That was 2000. When did it come legal? What's the year?
It was way before he started in cannabis, but I don't know.
Within the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
longer than that.
Okay.
Because maybe he's younger than that.
Okay.
Because I think in like 2018, it became like legal to now go out and grow. Okay. So
as opposed to the medical stuff was got it.
Medical, right?
Got it. Okay.
So now we have a dairy, piece of land, and we're like, you know what? This cannabis world is the next wave.
You have a dairy?
Well, it's not operational, no cows on it, but that's a piece of property where our track was at. I don't know if you ever got our track.
Okay.
So we said, no, let's go out and grow hemp, right?
Right.
Create our own CBD line. Well, at the time, every farmer on the planet stopped growing potatoes and watermelons and started growing hemp.
Oh.
So that market just fell out.
There's no money in it.
Right. At the time, there was great money in it, and then there wasn't, because to grow it and process it and everything else, by the time you processed it, you're trading dollars at best, right? So no matter what you're losing. So we had 10,000 pounds of hemp go bad because we couldn't even pay to process it, right? So that was just a total fail. But in that, we met a gentleman by name Andy Miner, who's out in your guys' world. Well, San Jacinto, they grew potatoes forever.
Okay.
So that was our farmer. And then through him, we met our third partner named Derek SIPCOI, who's on the black market side of cannabis, but he knew how to grow weed. Right. And so through CBD, we got into marijuana.
So SIPCOI. So that's not I thought the koi was.
No.
Oh.
So at the time, it was Chris Hansen and myself who had a Hansen McCoy.
Yeah.
And then we wanted a Ford. We wanted a Johnson & Johnson. We wanted not like, Green Life or some cheesy weed name. Right. And so we wanted a staple. So eventually we can grow this brand and turn around and sell it. Yeah. And so Andy Miner had a license in Moreno Valley, and so we bought the license from Andy, and then started, doing our own thing. And then fast forward to here we are now. We have a store in San Jacinto, store in Moreno Valley, and it's. I still am a big believer in the medicinal side of it. Right. I don't partake in the drug for recreational purposes, but I believe in the medication and the microdosing side. We can get into mushrooms, you might get into mushrooms, and the psychedelic side of mushrooms, and really the same thing with those.
I don't know anything about them, but why not?
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, you can go on that to trip and join out in outer space somewhere if you want to trip out of mushrooms. But like, it's the medicinal side for PTSD, for anxiety, sleep, depression, you name it. There's tons of research on that, right? Yep. And so, I got into it because of my son, into the medicinal side of the world, and still believe in both the medicinal side of the THC, marijuana,
right?
The CBD side of the cannabinoids and CBD, and also if we want to get into psychedelics and all that on the microdosing side. And so, big believer in alternative medications, right? Not going out to pharmaceutical.
You lived it. You lived it. Help your boy. And heck.
Yeah.
How painful is that, though? Do you think that there's another way? But you have
way.
You have.
Yeah.
Well, but you got to go to the back door, whatever it is.
Yeah.
For your kid. I mean,
Yeah.
God, you run to the end of the earth, you got to do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was a weird run for a while because there was parents that were getting in trouble losing their kids from CPS by going against doctor's orders.
Right.
We had to sign a waiver that our doctors have wanted to put them on epilepsy medications,
Okay.
and we're like, well, we're not going to do that.
Right.
And now they're like looking at us like we're bad parents,
Right.
and we're like, no, I'm not going to put my kid who maybe he was younger than that, maybe he was like 8,
Yeah, but
on
still.
this drug,
Right.
forever. So yeah, for us. There was definitely an alternative. Now this is
Brutal.
my wife. Now she's like in a whole homeopathy course and doing again all alternative to modern day pharmaceuticals because I just think they're trash and killing our society.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's another way, and you obviously found one and it worked, which then sprung into a business.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I look at that. I mean, I don't smoke either, but 2 of my best friends forever. I mean, we never really smoked. When we were in high school, we would drink a little bit, and then we separated for a little bit, and then we'd come back. When we were in our early 20s, and I got a beer, and they're smoking weed. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. How did this work? And I don't care. I don't care one way or the other.
Well, but think this way too. So someone that smokes like either daily or beyond just recreationally. Who were they and why are they smoking weed, right? Some of it is self-medication to a certain extent, right? Do they have anxiety? Do they have depression? Right. Do they have these underlying issues that cannabis just fixes? Yeah. Right. And so they're smoking.
Yeah, but there's such a stigma though. So you remember I called you. I was at your store. My dad was going through his chemotherapy and through his radiation, and I'd go see him every other day, and he just had massive pain in his neck, and he wasn't sleeping. And, but my mom and dad are older. Yeah, and
sure. I tried to get my mom to do it.
It's horrible.
Same thing.
Well, you helped me, and your gal there at your Alessandro store at Sipquay.
Anna, thank you, Anna.
Awesome. Yeah. Emma?
Anna.
Awesome. Yeah. I texted you, and I'm like, Anna's awesome. Yeah. But you set me up with a whole bunch. Hey, try this. Most of it was for like sleep and just kind of get your comfort. My dad, he wasn't sleeping. He was sleeping he'd sleep for 10 minutes, then he'd wake up for 3 hours and sleep for 10 minutes.
It's brutal.
But man, it is brutal. But the problem is, and she gave me like this roll on and stuff. And by the way, my dad was cool. My dad was like, he would joke even when we were kids, not joke so much when we were kids, but his brother would smoke weed and stuff, and he was kind of like the biker and the rebel and all the rest of that.
The brother,
my dad's brother.
Yeah.
Okay, my mom. Oh, it's horrible. Your uncle. But at any rate, so my dad would always joke. Yeah, I'm gonna go, smoke some weed or do this, that, and it would be a constant joke. So anyway, he's in pain. This was probably 6-7 months before he passed. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And he had said something about it. Or I might have even mentioned you. I said, you know what? I have a friend. And he gave me that look like, I'm down. Yeah. Okay.
Well, at that point, you're trying anything,
Exactly. I mean, But this has a sad ending, though, Kreg. Yeah. So it was the next day. I called you. You hooked me up with Anna. I went in. She gave me a whole bunch of stuff. And she said, do this and see how he feels. And if this doesn't work, try this. And she kind of gave me the stuff because it depends on how he reacts. So I went and I'm excited. Mm-hmm. And I go to my mom and dad, and he's kind of like cool. And my mom's just kind of giving me that look. I'm like, okay. So then the next day, I'm like, so I text my dad, how'd it go? And he lied. He said, oh, yeah, it helped a little bit. And then I'm like, cool. So then the next day, I'm like, how'd it go? I texted him. I didn't see him. Yeah. And he kind of, and then like 2 days later, I roll over there. And I'm like, tell me all about it. Yeah. And he gave me that look like, and then I go.
He wasn't even taking it.
Well, my mom wouldn't let him. Yeah. Because she's just got this narrative in her head that, but at that point, I'm like, Mom, I'm literally like, Mom. Mm-hmm.
I understand that. I get it because my mom was the same way.
I understand it, but it's painful.
Sure.
It's painful because there's that stigma that, you have some stuff that will help. Mm-hmm. And, but
because the government says it's illegal.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
I mean, that and we don't need to get into it here, but that just opens the door to kind of like our entire healthcare system and how we've been betrayed by our own government, right? Yep. Or by our own corporations that just, talk about greed, just corporate greed that are just, you have depression. Here's here's a pill. You have ADHD. Here's a pill. Here, you name it. You look at our society, and everyone's on some kind of a drug. Now it's this LPT-1. I don't know if you hope you're not on it.
That's the weight loss thing. Yeah. No, you know what? No, I exercise. I diet. My number one secret is 50 pounds. Bro.
Yeah. Eat less than you.
Well, sure, but it's even easier for me. Is just don't eat a fucking bag of pretzels and popcorn and soda before you go to bed. Yeah. I was doing that every day. Yeah. I'd eat dinner. I wasn't even full. I just lay in bed. I just cut that out and exercise a little bit better. And 50 pounds, I've kept it off for
this should be
3 years.
Like a date or a the health seminar right now because it's just the dieting seminar is like eat less than you consume and work out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and for me, it was also get on a scale. If you get on a scale, you screw up and then you gain a couple pounds. Like, okay, well, I'm going to eat a little bit less for the next 4 days.
Yeah. And eat healthy. I mean, it's just stay out of the center of the grocery store. Stay on the edges, right? All the fresh areas and eat fresh food.
We talk about an eye opener. I went to Europe. My wife's Hungarian, but we hadn't been to Hungary or Europe at all in years. But I've been a few times in the last few years. And you go to a gas station. Yeah. What's in our gas stations?
Trash.
Chips, sodas, candy, trash.
Processed trash.
You go to their gas station, dude, they're selling like freshly cooked bread, pasta.
Yeah.
You want to find, hey, where's the Doritos at? Excuse me? You can maybe find a Coke.
Yeah.
But there's not 3,000 aisles of processed bullshit.
Well, just look at Gatorade, right? Your kids played sports, and when we were kids, Gatorade was like
halftime.
Well, just like sugar and water and simple.
Right.
Now you can't even read the ingredients.
Right.
Look at the packaging, and if it's you can't read it, don't eat it.
Right. Look at we segued into health.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we going to have to change? Oh, what do you got going on back there, man?
That's Canyon Lake, man.
Oh, that's Canyon Lake.
Yeah. This is my mom and dad. This is me and my sister.
Is it really?
No. I'm kidding.
Well, it's funny. I thought maybe you were going there. Well, I'm not a Canyon Lake resident, so there's the tower, huh? All right. Badass.
Yeah. This is the campground.
Sweetness.
Campground. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
We trade to Link.
Oh,
back down to
awesome. All right, we'll get that later. All right, brother. Well, hell, we've done it all. Like Howard Stern, we've done it all. We've said it all.
Yeah, there's so much more, dude. I mean, we'll have to do this again because I want to get into some weeds and some of this real estate stuff. We didn't talk about market. I know you just had your update and all that stuff, and so
Well, you want to do 2 minutes of that? What do you think is going to happen in the next 12 months market-wise? Prices, transaction volume.
Well, I'm a little bit more negative than you. I think I didn't watch. I'm going to preface this by I didn't watch your guy. So okay. So
Jimmy,
I don't understand how we are where we are. Okay, personally,
what are we talking about? Prices, prices.
Yes,
we think we're overinflated. A little frothy.
Affordability, right? Prices are high.
Yep.
Wages are low.
Yep.
Rates are high.
Okay.
How are kids doing this? Like when I bought my first house, it was $100,000 and rate was 9%. Well, rates are higher. Prices were lower.
Yep.
And so I look at this, the pricing metrics that we currently have, and I've run the metrics for renting versus owning. Renting we're in real estate, right? So
rents are high, but it's still, rents are high.
Rents are high, but still cheaper than renting.
Correct.
I mean, than buying. So I run
correct.
these things and I have friends, kids that want to buy, and they're always asking me, when's a good time? I'm like, you know what? You do you. If you can afford it, go for it. And there's always the argument. You know what? Yeah, there's always that argument.
Yeah.
But as an investment, I just think there's better investments out there right now. And so that's what I struggle with this as a broker, as an agent, as an advisor in this world. And so I look at this and go, okay, well, where is the market going to go? And that may have changed, 10 days ago before we got into war with Iran.
Yep.
Rates started to come back down to under 6, and they're back to 6.5.
Yeah.
So there's the knee-jerk reaction to.
It's been ugly for. Yeah. Keep going. I'm just checking the rates.
So ultimately, it's like, okay, where is it going? I don't know. I was totally wrong in 2020.
Yeah, back to 6.5 for bonds, 10 years at 4.2.
Yep. So I thought COVID was like, this was it. We're due. We're going to have a crash, and then I was totally wrong, and we doubled since then, right?
It did.
So I've stopped guessing, but I am definitely moving forward cautiously because I don't see us being. It's not sustainable where we are.
So you think we're going to see a pullback?
Has to.
Big one,
I think there has to.
Small one, 5%, 10%, 20%.
If not more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it depends. Okay. Because you obviously have your micro markets, you have your macro economy. And so a lot has to do with what's going to happen with World War III, Iran, oil prices now through the roof, you name it. There's all kinds of things that are affecting my opinion from 2 weeks ago. But I'm not optimistic. Like we're going to, this is a good time to buy real estate, wait and hold. I don't think this is the market for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the affordability is a challenge, and I just did my forecast. You said you haven't seen it. If you make it to the end of my thing, even my market snaps are just flat. Here's the values. Where we're going to be at the end of the year: up 2%, down 2%, flat. Maybe up 5%, maybe down 5%. To me, that's still flat.
Yeah.
If we were down 4 or 5% at the end of the year, oh my God, okay, fine. It just as easily could be up 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But the affordability is a challenge. For all the things, I'm not telling you anything you already know. Even though rents are
high.
Well, they're high, but it's still more affordable to rent than it is to buy at the moment. But who wants to rent, I mean, if you can afford it, that's cool. But we have all these people with this tons of equity.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if I don't have to sell, if I can't get my price, I'm not going to.
Tons of that.
Tons of that.
Yeah.
Tons of that. But then at the same time, which also the counter argument to that is okay, well, I did buy here. Mm-hmm. I do have tons of equity. So if I did have to, sell what I thought was my $1 million house for $950 or even $900, I'm still ahead of the game.
Until you equate, you'll buy it $1 million and your taxes were based off of $400,000.
Yep.
They're based off of $1 million, and they just doubled.
So
your rates doubled.
Thornburg doesn't think there's going to be a pullback, but he's also calling for rates at 9. Not this year.
Is that because of what was happening in Iran at the time? Or
no, this is even before that. He's been saying that for 3-4 months.
If rates are at 9, we're crushed. The market's done.
We're crushed at 7.
Yeah. So how is that? How does he equate the market going to stay flat if the rates go to 9?
Well, he's talking to the future, but again, he didn't necessarily connect those two things at the same time.
Yeah.
If we're at 9% now or tomorrow or the next 12 months, we got major.
We're going to see a 40% pullback.
Okay. Very well. Okay. And you know what? From a consumer standpoint, I mean, we have buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
And if you're a buyer and you haven't bought, opportunity. If you're a seller who bought in the last couple of years, pain.
Yeah.
If you're a seller who bought, COVID or pre-COVID and you haven't done stupid shit, it's painful to give away some equity, but you're still okay.
Well, I preface my opinion based off of I was way wrong on COVID, and I could be way wrong right now.
Yep.
But
everyone was wrong on COVID.
Yeah, well, we didn't expect the government to infuse $10 trillion.
Yeah. That gets back to why Chris thinks there's going to be, not to lose your train of thought, so hold that thought.
Yeah.
That's where he thinks we're going to have interest rates at some point because we just have too much debt.
Yeah.
And in order for...
So, well, okay, tell me that, back to that. So if rates do go to 9, what happens to the market?
We're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we were, Chris Thornburg, he called... rates, I don't remember what year it was. I get lost. So wherever we were when rates were like right at 4%. So that probably was 2023-ish. Okay. I did my market forecast. I shot it right in there because we were still doing COVID. I shot it in Chuck and Adam's studio. And rates were 4%. And he said I could see rates at 7. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what, when, how, and it's 7, that destroys our market.
Sure.
To go from where we were sub 3% to 4, then to 7. And 2 years later, we're at 7.5. And then of course we've been bouncing around now and a little bit of improvement the last 18 months, or I guess since our peak. But just 4 months ago and last week, he said, we're going to be at 9. Not 6 months from now, but his whole thing is just all of that government borrowing, all of that debt. Yeah. In order for our debt to be attractive to be purchased by outside entities, the yield's got to increase. And if the yield increase, ultimately we're at higher rates. But who knows? But that's bad news. I mean, I don't know what that
it's not
does.
good for us as brokerage owners.
Well,
but
depends on what we're doing.
It's reality, right? So I mean, I had my best years from 2009 to REO.
Foreclosures and hedge funds.
Yeah. You got to shift gears. I mean, as a broker owner, you got to train your people to be able to adapt and overcome. But as a homeowner, it's tough, man.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
But
then again, like back before 08, it's a different market. So now you have your rate is at 2.5 to 3.5%. Who cares? Stay. Right? You don't need to sell.
Well, that's part of the problem today is we got all these people that have those rates.
Yeah. Who were buying 2 years ago, the 2-1 buy down, 3-1 buy down. Oh yeah, we'll just refi the rates go down. Well, rates didn't go down. Yep. Well, then you look at commercial debt, right? All these commercial loans coming.
That's a whole other story.
I know, right? So those are being called like, okay, what's going to happen in the commercial market? What's going to happen? And it's just like, I just can't see it being sustainable.
Yeah. At some point.
Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah. I just want to sell houses. Even like this year, I just pray for interest rate. Just give us a solid 6% rate for a year. Maybe we bounce into the 5.5. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like you said, now we got Iran going on and whatever that's going to look like tomorrow or a year from now. So
it's funny though. So you talk about like our business models, right? You're going EXP. I'm trying to figure out my own world as a broker owner, as a getting out of being an operator. I mean, you think you want to go out and own your own business and do your own thing, and I made twice as much money.
Dude, you want to just sell this? Just be an agent?
Just be an agent. Forget all this other stuff
all the time.
Yeah.
It's like she's Julie, my wife or ex-wife. I don't know if we had that conversation yet. Well, we won't do this on camera, but for decades, I had this idea of being an owner operator.
Yeah.
And, we went from, independent to a global banker with 1, 2, 3, 7 offices. I just wanted to expand. I was doing Fannie business. I didn't have a Freddie Mac account during that time, so I went and I literally bought a Freddie Mac account. There was a retiring Freddie Mac broker, and I'm like, I'll pay that for you. My wife would just be like, dude, why don't you just go do what you're good at, which quite honestly was selling real estate. Run a small team, which even in my big days was 10, 12 people.
Yeah.
Just a bit of team.
Sure.
It wasn't a team. We're a general, like a team.
Right.
We're Lance Martin team. It wasn't like 5 or 6 people doing their own stuff. But I look back even like now and I'm like, man, I wonder how life would have been different.
Just stayed.
The last 30. Yeah. If I just how smart Dad was, just being independent and just,
stay small. You said
back to your
20
roots,
max, right?
The math can be done on this.
Yeah.
And so my balance sheet might look a little bit better if I had just done that.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, just I guess we'll end where we started on the transition from Global Banker. I've done the math, and the math would have been better. And there's I'm going to mess the quote up. There's a quote from Gary Keller Williams. God, I need to have this memorized. But the gist of it is it's a very simple quote talking about we're losing so slowly, we think we're winning.
That's pretty funny and sad. That. Yeah. It's true. And it's like a slow boil.
And I might have a word or two off on that, but it's we're losing so slowly we think we're winning. And I saw that quote.
Wow, that's pretty funny.
I thought, I get that because when you're an operator and you have a bad year, a losing year, and you sit back and you go home and you talk to your wife and you're like, man, the numbers kind of sucked, but next year's going to be better.
Yeah.
Right, we got this next year, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
And then you do it again, and then it's like, well, shit, if you go back over a decade or more, me and my team, we were losing so slowly. It was like, but man, we're in there.
Yeah.
But we had ancillary service though. So, we were winning over there.
But you're talking about, this is back when you had just a small team doing REO business. What about you as a broker owner? I mean, you went from being the producer to now depending on.
Well, I never made more money than I was just doing, even when I had the operation, when I was just, my REO team, we would subsidize. It didn't matter. We go, well, we're losing money. It doesn't matter. Money we're making here. Well, yeah, but you're taking money, legitimate money, and
throwing it into
a fire pit, right?
Yeah. How far do you run with it?
Well, for 30 years.
You just keep going.
Or at least with Global Banker.
It's better next year.
24 years. You get that word. It's worked so slowly. We think we're winning.
It's going to work. It's going to work
one day. So, we'll end it with this. Yeah. So my pitch for a decade with Drew and Drake, where everybody would listen, I'd said it on camera 1,000 times. My business model is broken. So when the final decision, it's like, are we going to, I think it was Drew or probably both of them simultaneous. We're like, all right, either stop saying that shit
or fix it
or let's do something about it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the thing. It's like, okay, I need to stop saying it.
Yeah.
So we finally did it. We finally said, okay. And
I love it.
Is it a right decision? We're going to find out.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Well, if things don't work at EXP.
But I have a home.
Yeah.
I have a home at Link.
That's how we built it.
That's awesome.
People just like you guys.
I got a fallback position.
Yeah. So, no, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. I wish you guys the best luck.
I appreciate
on that
man.
move. And I have all kinds of things that we didn't even touch on today, but
we haven't even talked about Baja.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Next time.
We'll
get we need beer.
We'll just do a Baja thing.
We'll do a Baja. We'll do this.
That's what I'm saying. We'll do that too. But we'll get a picture of somebody back. You.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy can ride a bike.
In my glory days.
In case you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yep. Cool.
All right, brother. We're calling
buddy.
it. All right, man. I appreciate this.
Cool.
This is awesome.
Love it.
All right.
Thank
later.
you.
Peace. Look at us.